second year DMD resident here at Becker's Art Institute. Today I will be talking about this original research article published in JACC Asia in September 2024. It is on association of lipoprotein A with severe degenerative aortic valve stenosis. So starting with lipoprotein A and its introduction. It was first described by the scientist by the name Berg in 1963. It is distinguished from low density lipoprotein LDL by an ApoA tethered to ApoB by a disulfide bond. It is found in the plasma of humans and this animal, hedgehog. Its function is not exactly known and it has developed twice in evolution, and it is hypothesized that it has evolved to reduce bleeding. So its levels are highly variable in the population. Its levels are not changed by diet or exercise. Its levels rise a little bit in women after menopause, and it is mainly determined by the number of Kringle repeats. So this is the ApoA that is attached to ApoB to this LDL-like structure. The number of these Kringle repeats, that is these proteins in a helical structure bound by triple disulfide bonds, the more the number of repeats, that is the more the number of Kringle repeats, lower is the LPA concentration, and vice versa. The less the number of repeats, the elevated is the lipoprotein A concentration in plasma. And lipoprotein A, that is LPA levels, are predominantly genetically determined. It has autosomal codominant pattern of inheritance. This graph that I used in the previous slide as well is from this Copenhagen general population study, where that is only around 20% of people had lipoprotein A levels more than 50 milligrams per deciliter, both in men and women. Again, this is the structure of lipoprotein A. This is the ApoA bound to ApoB by a disulfide bond, and these are the Kringle repeats. This core is low density lipoprotein-like. It has pro-thrombotic, pro-atherogenic, and pro-inflammatory effects. Is a person's lipoprotein A level stable over time? And it is known that we reach our adult level of lipoprotein A generally by the age of 5. So at any age above 5, mostly a person will have the same level of LPA in his or her plasma. There are some exceptions, that is lipoprotein A levels rise at menopause substantially. Estrogen is known to lower lipoprotein A, and as at menopause estrogen declines significantly. So there can be as much as 20% or greater rise in lipoprotein A plasma levels. It is also an acute phase reactant. That means it can rise significantly with physical, with stress such as illness, a heart attack or surgery. Prevalence of elevated lipoprotein A. It is maximally seen in the African population, followed by South Asian population, then by Latin American, Asian and North American populations. So it is mostly highest prevalence is in the African, followed by the South Asian group of people. Every 1 in 5 individuals in the world have an elevated level of lipoprotein A above 50 milligrams per deciliter, and that is around 1.4 billion people worldwide.
Is there any association? You said it is more prevalent in South America. Is there any association of LPA with cardiovascular disease or?
Yes, sir. I think
It is more prevalent in
Africans and South Asians. This is what statistics say, and I'll be talking about cardiovascular disease and this thing in the subsequent slides. For aortic valve stenosis, lipoprotein A is the strongest known genetic risk factor, and it is also a risk factor for atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. It has pro-inflammatory, pro-thrombotic and pro-atherogenic effects, leading it to be labeled as a causal for cerebrovascular disease, coronary artery disease, aortic stenosis and even peripheral arterial disease. For atrial fibrillation, there are no trial outcomes as of now to label it as a causal factor, risk factor. Lipoprotein A elevation, it adversely affects the plaque phenotype. That is, it leads to a higher prevalence of thin cap fibroatheromas due to its properties. And this is the most vulnerable type of plaque. Thus, it is a risk factor for. It is an ASCVD risk factor. And the normal level of lipoprotein A. Normal is considered less than 30 milligrams per liter or less than 76 nanomoles per liter. There is a slight difference in the guidelines by the AHA and ACC versus the National Lipid Association at the US, in the West. Both consider in milligrams per deciliter as more than 50 as elevated. In nanomoles per liter, there is slight difference, which I will be coming to in the next slides. So, there have been many guideline recommendations for lipoprotein A screening, AHA, ACC, National Lipid Association. What is currently being followed is all adults should be screened at least once in their lifetime for lipoprotein A according to the European Atherosclerosis Society as well as the Canadian guidelines. And it is also hypothesized that people with extremely high Lp(a) levels have an increased risk of ASCVD similar to that of people with familial hypercholesterolemia. So, Sir, European Atherosclerosis Society. So this, as I mentioned, why should
what if they advise LPA?
Sorry, sir.
At what age they advise screening?
After 5 lifetime.
Yes. And 5 we achieve, as per the research, by the age of 5 we achieve maximum adult level of.
After 5 years, when you do lipid profile, get LPA then.
Once
in lifetime. But suppose LPA comes more than 50. So do you do screening again, whether it is further rises or not?
Sir, at least once is known.
The one I understand. So the 100 LPA 100 હવે એને એટલે વધી રહ્યું છે નથી ઘટતું.
પણ એ થઈ જ ગયું તમામ માત્ર પછી વધી રહ્યું છે ઘટી રહ્યું છે કોઈ સવાલ જ નહીં જોવાનું
નહીં.
It is risk.
And
કારણ કે it is not affected by exercise or activity.
that's what.
બટ સ્ક્રીનિંગ એજ શું આપી શકે કેટલી એજ સ્ક્રીન જનરલી 5 વર્ષ પછી કોઈ જોવા તો જવાનું નથી આપણે એડલ્ટ્સની વાત કરીએ તો 18 જોવાનું 25 જોવાનું 35 જોવાનું.
Yes, sir. The exact age, sir, I look up if it is mentioned.
આના ઉપરથી અનુમાન કરી શકાય કે 5 પછી ગમે ત્યારે.
બર્ડન છે
અને આપણા નેશનલ લિપિડ એસોસિએશન અથવા લિપિડ એસોસિએશન ઇન્ડિયા પ્રમાણે 18 યર્સે તમારે સ્ક્રીનિંગ કરવું.
At 18.
What I knew about that is suppose any young patient develop ischemic heart disease, with lipid profiles, everything, no high risk factor, nothing is there. Then you screen for LPA. Then in that case, LPA is the risk factor for that young. That is what I have heard about.
Yes, sir, that is what is also mentioned.
So LPA is a risk factor for ASCVD or it's a risk factor for premature ASCVD as well?
It has to be a risk factor for premature ASCVD.
Premature માટે બી
Yes,
છે.
sir. Yes, sir. Why should we measure Lp(a) in everyone?
આ એક મોટું બધું આવી ગયું.
Yes. It is a cardiovascular risk factor. It is the most common inherited dyslipidemia. It is a genetic factor. Its levels remain relatively consistent throughout life. It is complementary to other lipid measurements. additional risk information beyond traditional lipid levels, lipid profile values. It is, if identified early, it can guide preventive strategies, and it can identify additional individuals with lipoprotein A, that is, if everything else is normal. And as treatments are becoming available, its identification becomes crucial. It is a universal screening test, and screening everyone ensures that all have an equal chance of early detection and intervention. And universal screening can also help raise awareness about lipoprotein A and its complications, and it is cost effective in the long run. Universal screening may help prevent high costs of cardiovascular events in the future. And units of measurements. Most appropriate unit of measurement is nanomoles per liter. Most of the labs here, at least in our area and India, they report the values in milligrams per deciliter, and roughly milligrams per deciliter into 2.5 will give the value in nanomoles per liter, but this will try to underestimate the smaller isoforms. So the best appropriate unit of measurement of lipoprotein A is nanomoles per liter. So
Any lab gives the result in nanomoles per liter in our area?
sir, here I spoke to 3 labs. They all reported milligrams per deciliter. So coming to this study, it was used to evaluate the association of lipoprotein A and to the development of severe degenerative aortic stenosis, and followed by subsequent aortic valve replacement, including both transcatheter and surgical procedures. In addition, it also evaluated the association between LPA and other etiologies of severe AS, that is bicuspid or rheumatic valve disease, in a large set of Korean population. And all patients who underwent lipoprotein A measurements and echocardiographic evaluation at the Asan Medical Center, a high-volume tertiary care center in Seoul, South Korea, were included in this study. And all the patient details, demographics, comorbidities, prescriptions, echo data, and outcomes were obtained. The researchers who collected the data were blinded to the process of data analysis. And patients who were diagnosed with severe AS during their initial hospital visits or had histories of previous AV surgery, they were excluded from this analysis. So, the detection limit, that is the minimum value, was kept at 0.2 milligrams per deciliter. These measurements were taken prior to patients' angiographic and percutaneous coronary intervention, and they were obtained in the morning of the day of the procedure. And because there was a study in South Korea itself where patients with more than 30 milligrams per deciliter level showed increased risk for recurrent ischemic events, in accordance with these studies, patients were classified into 4 groups in the current study based on their LPA levels, into less than 30, 30 to 50, 50 to 100, and more than 100 milligrams per deciliter levels. And along with LPA, other lipid profile values were also measured simultaneously. And echocardiographic evaluation was done at baseline by expert cardiologists, and the severity of aortic stenosis were determined by the trans-aortic valve maximal velocity, that is Vmax, into no stenosis, mild, moderate or severe. No stenosis is Vmax less than 2 meter per second, mild is Vmax between 2 to 2.9 meter per second, and likewise moderate is 3 to 3.9, and severe AS is a Vmax of more than or equal to 4 meter per second. And also in the short axis, to determine the etiology of aortic stenosis, it was determined into degenerative if prominent calcification in the middle of the cuspis tips were observed, into bicuspid if there were 2 asymmetrical cusps with an ovoid valvular orifice, and rheumatic if there was commissural fusion combined with mitral valve pathologies.
So Remax of 4 will result into how much of peak pressure?
More than 40 mean,
Being petrol side.
more than 40 is severe.
More than 40 is mean, so peak will be 4 multiplied by V square, 64.
Okay. The primary outcome of the study was the development of severe degenerative AS, which was defined by a comprehensive eco-evaluation. There was the secondary outcome was the occurrence of transcatheter or surgical AVR and development of severe AS due to other etiologies such as bicuspid or rheumatic. It was not included in the primary outcome, it was reported separately. And death of any cause, it was considered as a competing risk, that means it will interfere in the development of the primary outcome.
ઇનિશિયલ સ્લાઇડમાં હું ભૂલી ગયો પણ આ પ્રોસ્પેક્ટિવ સ્ટડી હતું કે ક્રોસ સેક્શનલ હતું?
Sir, it was conducted between 2000 and 2021.
So the prospective study.
Yes. And coming to the results, between January 2000 and December 2021, 46,674 individuals underwent LPA measurements and echocardiographic evaluations. And as patients with severe AS and history of prior AVR at baseline, they were excluded. So finally, the sample size was 44,742 patients in this study. These are the baseline characteristics of the patients in this study. Mean age was 61.4 with a range of 11.5, plus or minus 11.5. 66.8% of the patients were males. Around 54% of the subjects had hypertension as a comorbidity and 30% had diabetes as a comorbidity. 40.8% of the subjects denied smoking during evaluation, and around 24.5% subjects, it was not known whether they were smoking or not. 68.6% of the patients had concomitant coronary artery disease, and of course, that no aortic stenosis was in majority of the patients, that is 92%. A few of them also had mild and moderate aortic stenosis. This bicuspid AV was present in 0.6% of the patients. And most of these percentages are repeated across the lipoprotein A subgroups. Like no aortic stenosis at baseline was reported in 90% of the patients at an LPA level of more than 100 milligrams per deciliter. Then this is the slide showing the cumulative incidences of AS development and subsequent AVR in all the subgroups of LPA levels. So this graph represents that as at an lipoprotein A level of more than 100 milligrams per deciliter and a median follow-up of around 6.8 years, there is increased incidence of severe degenerative aortic stenosis at follow-up, and similarly, and it is statistically significant with a log rank P of less than 0.001, and similarly at an LPA level of more than 100 milligrams per deciliter, after a median of 6.8 years, there is a steep rise in patients ultimately undergoing aortic valve replacement. Then this is the adjusted heart rate according to the various competing risks and confounding factors, and this represents the confidence interval, and this is the hazard ratio of LP little a. And here we can see that as LPA levels rise, there is significant development of severe degenerative aortic valve stenosis and as well as aortic valve replacement. This This is incidence rate comparisons according to baseline severity. Here, what the value that is statistically significant is patients who had a moderate stenosis at baseline, their development of aortic stenosis was 15.9% and with a p-value of 0.022, and overall also the p-value was significant, that is association with lipoprotein A levels was found to be significant in development of severe degenerative AS. So this is what I have already mentioned, the graphs that I spoke about. And this association was not observed in other etiologies including bicuspid or rheumatic severe AS. So these are the findings that the study demonstrated. It highlights a critical threshold of lipoprotein A in the development of severe AS. In a previous study, the risk of AS was highest. There was a significant increase with an LPA level of 30 to 51 milligrams per deciliter in an English population, which is slightly just above the normal values. And in this study, there was this critical value of more than 100 milligrams per deciliter. And this can be attributed to the study population. That is, this study was conducted in the Korean population, whereas the aforementioned study was conducted in English population, English subjects. And because these 68% of the patients had concomitant coronary artery disease, this study concluded that these people were susceptible to severe AS development, and this could also potentially increase the observed threshold. And calcific AS is theoretically defined into two distinctive phases: the initiation phase, mediated by an inflammatory response, and propagation phase, characterized by fibrosis and calcification. And some studies show that lipoprotein A is only associated with the initiation phase and not with the propagation phase. But this study had consistent impact on high lipoprotein A, had demonstrated consistent impact of high LPA on the development of severe AS, regardless of the severe baseline AS severity. That is, it may be involved in both in the initiation and propagation phases of degenerative AS. That is what this study concludes. And the contribution of lipoprotein A remains unclear to other etiologies like bicuspid AS, and extensive calcification has always been a hallmark of bicuspid AS, but this association was not observed in this study. This suggested continuous mechanical stress or inflammatory response in bicuspid AS might exert a more pronounced influence rather than just elevated lipoprotein A. So, to date, there is no established medical intervention to prevent the onset of AV stenosis or halt its progression. And theoretically, lipoprotein A has emerged as a drug target for AS prevention. And one of the analysis was this 4-year study, that is further cardiovascular outcomes research with PCSK9 inhibition in subjects with elevated lipoprotein A. It showed a significant association between LPA and AS events. And this PCSK9 inhibitor, evolocumab, it is known to reduce LPA by 20 to 30%, and it demonstrated a reduction in AS events during a median 2.2 years of follow-up. And there are potent lipoprotein A reducing RNA interference therapies such as pelacarsen and olpasiran. They have been developed and are being tested and are in the phase 3 of clinical trials, revealing substantial reductions in lipoprotein A levels by up to 80 to 90%. So this study will have significant implications for the design and implementation of future trials aimed at preventing degenerative AS through lipoprotein A lowering therapy. So, managing lipoprotein A, as of now, what is being followed is to control the cardiovascular risk factors, especially LDL cholesterol. And statins have not shown to benefit specifically lipoprotein A. And there was one study where those with lipoprotein A, 39% had CVD event if LDL was lowered by 10%, and only 9% had CVD event if LDL was lowered to more than 10%. That is, controlling cardiovascular risk factors does help to an extent in controlling the outcomes. Currently, there are no drug treatment that has been shown to prevent heart attacks or strokes. So, PCSK9, it is not yet approved for FDA. It is not yet FDA approved for lipoprotein A reduction. So, this is just an illustration of this entire study. These graphs I already spoke about. And here, at a lipoprotein A level of more than 100 milligrams per deciliter, the adjusted Hazard ratio is 1.85. That is 85% chance of patients developing aortic stenosis at a level of more than 100 milligrams per deciliter. At a level of 50 to 100, the value is 1.25. That is 25% chance of developing severe degenerative AS, although it is not statistically significant. And at these lower values, less than 30 is just a reference point. At this value of 30 to 50, this value is not very significant. And similarly, in aortic valve replacement also, if at a level of more than 100 milligrams per deciliter, 93% chance that patients will undergo aortic valve replacement. At these lower values, the chances are on the lower side. Limitations of the study, coming to the limitations, it included specifically those patients who were at risk for coronary artery disease and developing degenerative AS, and specifically patients were of Korean origin and Korean ethnicity, and the results of the study cannot be generalized. And unmeasured confounders like age, BMI could have influenced the observed findings. And these LPA levels were reported in milligrams per deciliter and not molar concentration, that is nanomoles per liter. And the long-term effects of statins on LPA levels were not done in this study. Further studies for lowering LPA levels, if at all, are warranted. So to conclude, this study demonstrates a significant association between elevated lipoprotein A level and the development of severe degenerative AS, regardless of the severity of AS at baseline. And randomized trials exploring novel therapies for LPA lowering and to mitigate the risk of severe degenerative AS in patients with elevated lipoprotein A are warranted.